Okay, in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to make cutouts. So inside Photoshop I'm going to do File Open, navigate to my desktop, find the folder I want, and you'll see I only have 2 images in here. You will have a lot more, but let's go ahead and start off with image 1. Hit Open, and I'm zooming in and zooming out by pressing Command and the minus key, and Command and the plus key, so that way I can zoom in and zoom out. When I am zoomed in, I can hold down the space bar and my icon changes to a little hand, and I can pan around on my shot and I can see close-ups of the subject. Okay, so to start doing the selection, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in over here and I'm going to choose the 4th tool down, and that's called the Quick Selection tool. If you don't see the Quick Selection tool and you see this tool here called the Magic Wand tool, all you have to do is hold down on that same toolbar button and choose the Quick Selection tool. So the Quick Selection tool comes out, and the Quick Selection tool does have a brush size, and so to change brush sizes you can do one of 2 things. You could either come up here to the top left corner and click and change your brush size, and that's pretty good and it works well. I find what's a little faster is to use the bracket keys on the keyboard. They are to the right of the letter P key on the keyboard, and if you do open bracket it will make the brush size smaller, and close bracket will make the brush size bigger. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and just start brushing over our subject here, and you want to watch where the selection marquee is going. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and grab those hands there. So I'm going to press Command and plus, so I zoom in, then I'll hold down the space bar and pan up so I can see the hands. I'm going to go ahead and select the hands, and it did a really good job just getting the hands in one single click. I do, however, want to get the white space out from in between here, so I'm going to do open bracket to change my brush size down, zoom in, and I want to take away from the selection. So to add to the selection you just click and drag over it and it will automatically add. You can see the little plus symbol in there. But what I want to do is I want to take away from the selection. So the way you take away from the selection is you hold down the Option key and you'll see that now the plus symbol becomes a minus symbol. And now when I drag over the area I want to subtract and then I let go, Photoshop then refines its selection. And you have to determine how much time you can spend on each image, and that will determine how precise you can be. So I'm going to do Command minus and zoom out, and I'm going to brush over her hair here. And you probably don't need to get little strands of hair like this, but talk to somebody to see if you do. Okay, I'm going to hold down the space bar and pan in, and it looks like I got a little too much of her back, a little bit too much of the space behind her back. So hold down the minus key and just trace around, and you'll see Photoshop clues in pretty well. There we go, and a tiny bit more, and there we go. That's pretty good. So space bar to pan, click to add, zoom out, Command minus key, close bracket to add, get the rest of her leg in here, and we're pretty good to go. Oops. Let's get the rest of her leg here, and there we are. Now if you go too much you'll see that Photoshop grabbed the floor, so again Option key, minus, and there we go. Photoshop kind of clues in. Do be careful, just go around, make sure Photoshop isn't being too inclusive. There we go. Okay, so if I zoom out, just so you can see this whole thing here, you can see that now I've got all of her. So now that I'm happy with this selection, at least I think I'm happy with this selection, what I want to do now is I want to turn her into a layer. So that way I can get rid of the background and make it transparent. So the way you do that simply is once you have your selection and you think you're pretty happy with it, on the keyboard you're going to press Command J, And when you do that, you'll notice that over here in my layers toolbar, I now have two layers. I have the background original layer, and I now have a layer all by itself, and you can see the checkerboard pattern here. So what I'm going to do is, layer 1 is the layer that I'm concerned with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the background layer by clicking on the little eyeball icon, and there you can see my dancer is isolated. Once the dancer is, or the subject is isolated, this checkerboard pattern means that the computer will see transparency. It'll see 100% invisibility. So I'm pretty much set. It never hurts for you to, once you do this, to go and look and go in here, and you can see, yep, look at that. I chopped off one of her fingers there. So generally, not good. So what do I do? So let's say you do that. What can you do? You can go ahead and do edit, undo, and I did edit, undo. If you need to do multiple undos, go back up to edit, and you're going to choose this command here, step backwards. So edit, undo will do one undo. Edit, step backwards will allow you to do multiple undos. So you can see that I forgot to get that finger in there, and that's just because I was preoccupied. Okay, there we go. Now I've got the whole finger in there. Again, to make a selection become a layer, Command J. Let's hide the background. I'm going to just pan through here. Looks like I got all of her. Okay. All right. So I'm pretty happy with this. Now how do I save it? So I'm going to go up to File, Save As. You have to do Save As. And the reason why you want to do Save As is because you want to change the name and you want to change the format. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and most likely you will put it into another folder. I'll call this new folder Action Shots Final. And inside this Action Shots Final, I'm going to change the format from Photoshop to PNG. And PNG is the format that will allow computers to recognize and see that transparent background. So I'm going to go ahead and change the name to last name, first initial, and then whatever this person is. You would obviously fill in the person's name, but this is just an example. And I'll go ahead and hit save. I'll click OK, and I'm done. Now, here are the action shots here. Here is the finished action shot here. I'll open it up. You'll see what it looks like. So here's the action shot. I can see it. All of this gray represents transparency, so there's another check for you there so you can see. What I would recommend you do is, as you are doing multiple images and you need to keep track, I would recommend that you come over here to your master list of images, come to the image that you just finished, right-click on the image, come down here to the bottom of the list of the menu, come over here and decide on a label color. In this example, I'll go ahead and choose green, and that way my whole team knows when it's green, it has been signed off, it is finished, it's done. All right, good luck and happy cutting out.